recommitting.
Announcements by Your Honor.
Yeah. Should be there.
Not yet, not yet. I don't know if you can see her when you like.
Walker, like we had a deep. No. We're not ready to resume. We're about to resume the post-lunch session of the Senate.
Yes, Mr. President, we revert to announcements by Your Honor, the President.
Yes, and I'm advised to revert to announcements by the President. And to advise, I'm told that Senator Lisa Cummins is about to join us. We are happy to welcome her. And I have with me a letter from the Chief Medical Officer, the Ministry of Health and Wellness. It is addressed to the Clerk of Parliament, and it reads as follows. Dear Mr. Eastman, please be informed that Senator Lisa Cummins is cleared to enter Parliament to attend the convening of Senate 2020-8-5. Senator Cummins has satisfied the health requirements of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and she is COVID negative and therefore not infectious. Your cooperation in this matter is appreciated. And it's signed and stamped by the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Kenneth George.
Sir, a point of privilege. That is a point of corruption. Now, let me tell you something. From the inception, they told us COVID has a 7 to 14-day incubation period. This ain't 14 days yet. So this doctor needs to retire or resign from the public service. He is influenced, and if she comes, I gone, you know. Because I'm not staying in here with somebody who they're told to stay in quarantine for 5 days or 7 days. The international standard is 14 days. I am not going to stand in here and breach any standards when it comes to my health. You want to pass a bill, and you can bring potentially the halt, the lame, and the blind, and everybody inside here to, it's not going to work with me. If she comes, I gone. It's as simple as that. This is foolishness. And the chief medical officer needs to leave his office if he can be allowed to be this corrupt. He can't be this corrupt. But I understand why. He's acting. And that's why he's not got so much acting post in the public, because if he was a genuinely independent person, he would have said no 14 days, like for everybody else.
Mr. President, on a point of, privilege, if I may address you as well, I'm concerned, sir, not only about what Senator Franklin said, but there are people in here who are high risk. And we are in an environment where there are no windows. I am not certain that this is a good thing. Based on what we have been advised as to what is to happen when persons have been exposed to COVID, I believe that Senator Cummings coming in here is premature. This morning, the Honorable Prime Minister had a press conference. She had persons with her, Dr. Ford, the gentleman in charge of the monitor unit, Mr. Chapman. She had two other Mr. Dr. Gay from the hospital, who's the chief person at the hospital, the doctor, and another person I can't remember. But Minister Bostic was part of the meeting via Zoom. He's still home. He was part of the meeting via Zoom. So if he could not be there, even though the press conference was advertised that it was going to be the Prime Minister and the Minister of Health, and he did his part via Zoom, what is Senator Cummings doing coming here? I am concerned, Mr. President, and I wish to be a part of the vote with the Integrity and Public Life Bill, but I do not want to know how Harrison Point is. I think it is dangerous, I think it is selfish, and I think that Senator Cummings ought not to be here simply because we do not know. And every time we talked about quarantine, we're hearing 14 days. Now we're hearing 5 and 7 for them. But Mr. Bostic is still at home. Mr. President, I'm asking you to exercise your power and to politely refuse to allow Senator Cummings to come into a closed environment where persons within this room fit into the high-risk category. Because for Senator Franklin to leave, it means that one less vote for the opposition. And that is not right. It is not fair. Thank you, Mr. President.
On a point of privilege, Mr. President, as a medical doctor, I want to lend my voice to this particular matter. There's a difference between incubation period and window period. Incubation is the time during which you would expect to develop symptoms if you are supposed to become symptomatic. So if you're supposed to develop a temperature, a cough, body aches, any of the symptoms associated with COVID-19, you can take up to 14 days to develop symptoms. Window period, which for COVID is between 2 and 6 days, describes the period after exposure during which you're likely to develop a positive test. So let's say Senator Cummings had been to the airport last week. On that day, she potentially might have come into contact with someone we don't know. If she was tested on that evening, would have still tested negative. Between 2 to 6 days subsequent, if she was indeed positive, her PCR test, which is the gold standard test, which is 99% accurate, would have become positive anywhere between 2 and 6 days following exposure, which is why our public health officials, who I think is quite unfortunate, are being dragged into a political debate on the floor of Parliament. Our public health officials, who have served with distinction during the COVID-19 period, are being dragged into this matter. The matter of fact is that we have a member of this House who has been cleared by no less than the Chief Medical Officer, who has a COVID-19 negative test, and she should be allowed to join us in the chamber this afternoon, Mr. President. Thank you.
Mr. President, I was going to rise in response to the point of privilege by Senator Tate. I don't know on what the Senator Franklin rose, but I guess it's the same thing. but my colleague, my honorable colleague, elucidated for all to hear. Indeed, persons who come to Barbados, and they've been speaking about it over the last couple of weeks, there have been protocols. We speak of countries that are high risk, medium risk, and low risk. There are various requirements for each group. Persons who came from Canada, I believe, which is classified as medium risk, who either had negative PCR tests, they came here and they've been all over the place. Those who didn't have tests, because it was moderates, were tested at the airport. Indeed, if you came from a moderate risk country, and even in the protocols that were released as recently as 2 days ago, you are allowed to go about in the country, and you are monitored. You are monitored. You are monitored. You are not quarantined from medium risk countries. You only quarantine persons who are coming, Mr. President, from high risk areas. And persons coming from high risk areas are allowed to be tested after day 7. And then if they're negative, they're allowed freedom. So we are allowing people who are coming from overseas certain freedoms. But now in here for political reasons, we want to deny it. We want to deny it. That's what it is, Mr. President. We have sat here, we know what this is all about. This is about a bill that my honorable colleagues on the other side, opposition, has vented and opposed to. If Senator Cummings comes in here with a letter signed by the Chief Medical Officer of Barbados, and Chief Medical Officer acting or otherwise, he is the highest person in terms of medical decisions in this country. And he states that she can come here and he's clearer. Who are we? Mr. President, I think we should proceed.
Mr. President, on a point of privilege, I believe as a person of high risk that I should make my personal choices about what I will do. Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, on a point of elucidation, I think, I would just like clarity. What is the difference between Minister Bostic being a part of a press conference from home in isolation and Senator Cummings coming here in the public domain? They were both at the same event that caused them to have to go into isolation. I would like clarity how it is that with the Prime Minister, Minister Bostic was home, and there is a possibility that Senator Cummings will be allowed to come into the chamber. How come he was home for an important health update to the country, and Senator Cummings is being considered access to the chamber? I just would like that cleared up. Thank you, sir.
We'll talk for you. We'll talk with you. Resolve the issue.
Mr. President, I'd like to move that this sitting be suspended for 10 minutes.
Question is that this sitting be suspended for 10 minutes. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, and we are now suspended until 3:30.